By Tuesday morning, we were about a day and a half in to putting Jimmy's race car back together. The question is, how long will it take to clean up the shop once he's done? Good morning, Steve-O.
Morning.
My shop has been Jimmy-daled.
Yeah.
Tanner and I were out in the shop earlier than Jimmy expected. He was still wandering around in search of coffee. The problem is no one here drinks it, and without it, Jimmy can't function. And so he immediately tries to focus the camera's attention on Steve.
On the show, Steve.
Why are you welcoming me to the show?
Steve's back on the show.
What's on the agenda for today, Jimmy?
We need a trans brake solenoid. We need to put 2 hose clamps on, exhaust, and motor mount bolts. Some motor mount bolts. Some motor mount bolts. Some motor mount bolts. Some motor mount bolts.
All right, I need the trans brake solenoid out of the car first.
All right, yeah.
Because I want to match it up when we get there.
You got it. Look, I was smart enough to put a bucket down. Science.
Jimmy recently put a 16-volt battery in his car and he loves it, so it's not going to do me any good to explain that higher voltage through an electromagnet increases its strength but also increases current draw, and if left engaged too long will definitely overheat and melt the wiring. However, there's no sense in trying to explain any of this to Jimmy until he gets some coffee in his system. But he struck out on coffee at the gas station and instead brought me a Mountain Dew and himself blueberry donut holes.
Really good. You want to try one?
No, I don't want one.
Talking shit about my blueberry donut holes, I need to take this Mountain Dew and yeet it out the window.
You seem a little grumpy this morning.
I'm surprised you woke up so early, I'll be honest.
We pulled out of the gas station with a full tank of E85 and a mouthful of blueberry donut holes. The plan is to head into Jegs and pick up a new trans brake solenoid for Jimmy's Mustang. And since time is of the essence, we're up bright and early with all the older folks. Although we weren't there waiting when the doors opened, we were definitely there earlier than normal, and Jimmy is just loving life. Although Uncle Terry wasn't working today, another Jegs associate got Jimmy quickly hooked up with everything he needed to get his Power Glide back up in operation. It'll be interesting to see how long this one lasts. Tanner installed the new solenoid as soon as we got back to the shop so we can move on to other things.
They're giving me a hard time about my exhaust because it's genius.
Genius?
Genius.
Genius.
Being a genius certainly has its advantages.
Show them the exhaust.
Nothing genius comes out of his head. Look at that.
Look, viewers at home,
Okay,
this is how you properly do this.
this
all
is
right?
Jimmy's exhaust.
Got a little wiggle room. It's got a hanger.
What bolts it onto the car, Jimmy?
The drive shaft loop. Look, it's right here. It's
What?
a great look. Multi-purpose.
Oh my God.
That's good ingenuity. I'm being serious. Y'all are just me.
We're getting closer and closer to trying to crank this thing over, but first we need to check for fuel leaks. All right, turn the fuel pump on. Let's see if we got any leaks. Yeah, we got fuel in the carburetor. I don't see anything leaking.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Let's check and see if it's got ignition at all. Pull the coil wire off over there, Steve-O. All right, turn the ignition on and roll it over and see if we've got ignition.
Sure do.
Strong.
Don't
16
touch
volt.
anything.
Strong like ox.
Bow!
Messing up my stuff.
I was just trying to pull the coil wire off when I was working on it, and it just went.
Stop. Give it some gas.
Oh my God.
Hey, that's why I don't run power valve. Come on.
Well, it runs. Now we just need to put a timing light on it, adjust the crank trigger, back it outside, put water in it, and go over it again. I didn't hear a single exhaust leak except for the ones underneath.
There's no exhaust leaks underneath. It's a controllable leak out the back. It's supposed to be like that. It's actually scavenging. It's science. You don't know anything about it.
A scientific fact that I do know is that the radiator hose in Jimmy's car blocks the timing pointer. You got this freaking Ford radiator in this thing, and now I can't see the timing pointer because the radiator hose is in the way. How are you supposed to set the ignition timing? I can't see the timing pointer for
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Oh my God.
Look good from there?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'll remove the lower radiator hose, okay? Without burning myself. I may actually let it sit for a second.
There's no water in it, Jimmy. All you get is pull the hose off. But like, how
PTSD. But I take the radiator hose off. Gotta be dumb, you gotta be tough. Then we have a clear shot of what's going on.
Jimmy's going to remove the lower radiator hose using caution not to burn himself with the invisible water.
Then we radiator hose back on.
How are you ever going to check the timing with water? How did you ever check the timing before?
Ha! Joke's on you, you can't see it anyway.
Obviously, there's some kind of a problem with the starter, but I'm trying to work through one problem at a time. First things first, I need to get the crank trigger adjusted to get the ignition timing set where it needs to be. Because, you know, science. The problem is 50% of the bolts that hold the crank trigger on are missing, and the bolts that are holding the starter on are scientifically the incorrect length and incorrect shoulder width to properly attach the starter. And the one bolt holding the crank trigger sensor is one short of what's supposed to be there.
Yeah, there's definitely supposed to be 2 bolts in that.
And people say you don't work on race cars.
So this led us on another journey down to A1 Auto Parts to go visit Mark. We not only need some bolts to bolt Jimmy's car back together, but we need some shop supplies as well.
Yep, dusty old bolt. I think there was a rat turn on it.
Was it really? Woo. Yeah, we'll figure out something.
All right.
As usual, Jimmy's scheming to get something for nothing.
Working a deal.
Working a deal.
1 bolt, 2 cases of brake clean, blue towels, black Loctite, $50 or free.
Okay.
Flip a quarter.
Flip.
Although Jimmy lost the first coin flip, he's not a quitter and comes back at Mark with an offer for double or nothing.
Double or
Double
nothing?
or nothing. Let's do it. Now.
Tails.
Yep.
Hit nice!
And just like that, Jimmy and Tanner walk out of Mark's like a raccoon stealing cat food without paying for a single thing. They went back to the shop and got busy working on the Mustang to get as much done as possible before the rest of the Nitrous Express gang showed up the very next day.
Won't believe this.
Got my tuning gear on.
Are you shitting me?
Well, I thought this was proper work attire at the old man's shop.
Well, it is in the wintertime.
Oh, I got the wrong memo.
You're going to sweat your off.
No, he's got the summertime fit ready. Put the summertime fit on.
Now that Raska and Poland are on site, I'm off the hook for supervising Jimmy. By that afternoon, they had the Mustang finished up and it was time to start loading up to leave for Shadyside.
The pinnacle of success in the middle of the United States is owning your own John Deere tractor. Hey, can I call you Johnny? The old man pulls into the shop to load the blown up motor.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? Ladies, you may not like to hear it. This is what peak male performance looks like right here.
We need to get Jimmy's old blown up engine wrapped up with plastic before we load it the truck.
Yeah, Steve, wrap it before you attack it. It's a rule of the road.
I haven't used a condom in a day in my life, and I still haven't ended up like Billy.
Well, you probably got some warts and miscellaneous other things you got going. You're going to worry about those. Don't wrap my hand in there.
I told Steve to wrap that thing up tight because this crash wrap's going to be a terrible pain in the ass to remove once he gets the thing back to the shop. But then I realized Jimmy's not the one that's going to have to deal with it.
Wrap that thing up real good. That way he's got a fun time getting it unwrapped when he gets home.
I'm not unwrapping it. That's a Mike deal. I wrap it so tight that his eyes twitch.
Henson's going to deal with this problem.
This is a good problem to have, though. How do you feel having your brother in town?
By this time, I couldn't wait for Jimmy to pull out of my driveway. But as it turns out, it looks like I'm going to be leaving first. It's Vicky and I's 30th wedding anniversary.
Tell him, boss. Tell him.
And Vicky and I plan on leaving as soon as we get Jimmy's stuff loaded up.
Professional.
Attaboy, Steve.
Attaboy, Steve.
Now that we've got Jimmy's small block loaded in the truck, there was one last thing I need to take care of.
This is the best idea I think we've ever had. Watch this.
Somehow Jimmy's managed to bend both of his trailer ramps into boomerangs, and he asked me if I could help straighten them out before he leaves for North Carolina.
It's working a little bit.
Is it working? Hey, look at there.
Better than they were.
So now I'm officially off the hook for Jimmy Dale's supervision and problem solving. That means Vicky and I can finally load up in my truck and head out of here. You ready, Squirrel?
I think so.
Tell them where we're going.
Far away from here.
We're headed to Chicago to go do a plant tour at Glasstek and pick up my new hood for the Monte Carlo.
We're leaving
Chaos.
to probably go to a little more chaos.
No. It can't be more chaos than here.
Well, I happen to have Thursday off, so I said, okay, I'll go with you.
You ready?
Yes.
All right, so a month and a half ago, I placed an order at Glasstek for a custom-made fiberglass bolt-on hood for my Monte Carlo. And I got an email a couple of weeks ago that the hood was ready to be picked up. And since Vicky and I could both use some time away from the house, it was the perfect excuse to bail out of the chaos back at home. We officially turned over supervision of Jimmy Dale to Raska, Poland, and Addie's mom and dad. They had all gone out to dinner together about the time Vicky and I hit the Indiana state line. After dinner, they all went out to Topgolf, where Jimmy practiced shanking golf balls, while Vicky and I were on the road searching for a decent hotel to stay at in northern Indiana. After a pleasant night's stay in the hotel that I'll never go back to again, Vicky and I got back on the road and hit the Illinois state line just after lunch. The destination we're headed to is very close to Aurora, Illinois. The address to Glasstek is technically in Naperville. After struggling to get through traffic around the south end of Chicago, Vicky and I pulled into the parking lot at Glasstek right around 2:30 in the afternoon. It didn't take us long to find a box leaning against the wall outside the shop with my name on it, marked for customer pickup. I backed the dually up next to the hood, and Tori Caniglia, one of the owners of Glasstek, come out and help me load the hood up and tie it down. Then Chloe Sheridan, the administrative manager, gave Vicky and I a tour of the plant. Chloe has run the office at Glasstek for many years, and she knows the business inside and out. She explained in great detail the entire process of building custom fiberglass hoods, from start to finish. It was really neat to see everything in there, especially since I was one of their very first customers back in the early 90s. The one and only fiberglass hood that I've ever owned came from Glasstek, and I bought it for my Nova almost 30 years ago.
It takes at least 2 guys to carry around. They're pretty heavy.
Wow.
And these molds were all made off of actual steel cars, not off other fiberglass front ends.
Nope, all steel.
Yeah.
Right, in fact, on this side, if you look at the very top, those are all steel bumpers that we pulled molds off of.
Oh, wow.
We keep them just in case we have a problem with the mold. We can just remake the mold. But that's all, those are all steel cores.
So every mold that you have here to make fiberglass components, it came off a real OEM
Right.
bumper, fender, hood, whatever the
Unless
case
it was
may
an
be.
aftermarket scoop, then we beef
Right.
it up so it's strong like steel. All of these, everything, this whole row is all steel pieces.
Wow. Vega front end.
Yeah. This is the extended one. We got them extended, we got them regular. This is the Malibu with
Oh,
the front
yeah.
spoiler.
Yeah,
We just came out with that recently.
really. Wow.
We had so much call for it, but we were so swamped at times.
Monte Carlo NSS.
Yeah. In the back, you got a whole 69 Camaro body. That's a finished piece.
Wow, a whole body.
Yep, the whole body.
Wow.
In fact, Lizzie Musey's the car that she had last year,
Yeah.
before she stopped racing her, that was all our body.
Oh, neat.
After a tour of the plant, it was time for Vicky and I to get back on the road. After saying goodbye to Tori and Chloe, we loaded up in the truck and started our 7-hour trip back to Central Ohio. Instead of trying to make our way through rush hour traffic around the south end of Chicago, we took a more scenic route, and Vicky found a place she wanted to stop and get dinner. Now, I may be wrong, but I think this place was called the Farmhouse Restaurant. We went in and sat down, and Vicky got on her phone and found out that Jimmy Dale's in trouble again. Well, it looks like we got out of Dodge just in time.
Thank goodness. Jimmy is broke down, literally broken down.
We're stranded in the middle of North Carolina. Science.
Science.
The hitch snapped in half. Somehow I just pulled over because my boat was numb. Now look back there and the trailer's like this.
Science dictates that things rust from the inside out, even in Texas. And thankfully, Southern hospitality runs deep in North Carolina. It didn't take long for help to arrive. Somehow they planned to weld Jimmy's trailer back together. Anyhow, that brings us to Friday, and the kids are planning on going down to National Trails to do some testing today with the Falcon. After our last trip down to West Virginia, it's clear with the added power that the Falcon now has, we need to make some changes to the bar angles on the rear suspension. Billy also wants to make some changes to the tune-ups, and the combination of both we're hoping will allow us to put more power down to the Falcon without wheeling. Our initial testing during the day was very promising, but once the sun went down, the kids wanted to find exactly how far they could push the Falcon before it would lose the tire. By the time it was all said and done, we were really happy with the progress we're making on the Falcon. And Allison got to make some nitrous hits on the Dart as well. Now, while there's a lot of effort being put into the race cars to get them ready for War in the Woods, there's also an equal amount of effort being put into getting merch ready to take to the track as well. And Vicky was thankful that Addie came over to help fold merch on Saturday afternoon. Now that we feel that we've got the S10 and the Falcon pretty much ready to go, I could turn my attention to working on the Monte Carlo for a few minutes as Billy and I got ready to test fit the hood. The new hood uses 3/8 bolts instead of the original metric. I'm not sure what size metric that is. The 3/8 bolts that the hood uses wouldn't quite fit through the hood hinges, so we had to clearance the slots in the hood hinges to fit the bolts before we could bolt the hood on. Finally, it was time for the moment of truth, to close the hood and see how well this hood actually fits the car. Since parts of the fiberglass hood are actually thicker than the original hood, we did have to make some minor adjustments to get the hood to lay flush with the top of the fenders. We also had to remove the rubber hood cushions in the front fenders. But other than that, the hood closed and fits absolutely perfect. This hood fits my Monte Carlo just as nicely as the original Glasstek hood that I bought for my Nova did over 30 years ago. That is incredible. Look how good that fits.
They gave you the perfect special.
No, they didn't even know who I was when I ordered it. I didn't, this isn't, no. I called and just ordered this just like a regular everyday person months ago and paid for it. Look how good this hood fits, dude.
So you're gonna take it back off and...
Yeah, we're gonna paint it. And then it's the bumper. Look.
Laugh for your ass.
Ha ha!
You're scared to go as fast as you're about to be going. You don't know what to do with all that.
What are you talking about?
Bro, you drive anything fast, you're scared to death.
Them's fighting words. So now that we've got the new hood fitted to the Monte Carlo, and I've got my new Outlaw front bumper, I called and made arrangements with House of Pearls to bring the car up to get them both painted. And although Monday was Memorial Day, Bob's still working up at the machine shop. All right, what's up everybody? Welcome back. So today is Monday, it's Memorial Day. This weekend we just kind of took an easy weekend to relax and kind of reflect a little bit and rejuvenate and re-energize. Tommy and Allison went to trails, went bracket racing a little bit. Allison raced her Dart and Tommy raced the 55 Chevy for the first time. He seemed to really enjoy that. That stuff will all be coming up on their channel. And Billy and I, we ran into Columbus. We got invited to come in and do a little bit of street racing. And I took the Malibu in and I got a grudge race off with a yellow Pontiac GTO, a late model GTO. But I had a really good time. Probably bit off a little bit more than I could chew on that one. But we got an invitation to come in and hang out at a new spot we had never been to before. And it was a really good street. It was a really good spot. A lot of really good people in there hanging out, just enjoying their time together and shooting the shit. And it was a really good time. We really enjoyed it. Even though I didn't win my grudge race, I really enjoyed it. Hats off to Jeff Green, the guy that had the yellow GTO. Super nice guy, and congratulated him. He did a good job. So anyway, that brings us to today. I'm headed to Bob's, and today we are firing up the Monte Carlo's new 440 for the first time. Now this engine, as you all may remember, this was the engine that used to be in Tommy's S10, or at least the block. We hurt Tommy's engine on nitrous a few years ago, and one cylinder got tore up to the point where it was going to take a 4-185 bore to clean it up. And so we didn't really want to put that block back in something that we're going to lean on real hard in case we tear it up. So I decided to build this 440-inch small block Chevy, 4-185 bore, 4-inch stroke. It's just a standard 23-degree small block Chevy with trick flow 230 heads. But it's on the dyno up here today, and Bob and I are going to attempt to fire it up for the first time and hear it run. I'm pretty excited about that. The Monte Carlo project, I'm stacking parts and pieces of the puzzle, and we're just about ready to pull the trigger on it and get started tearing it apart. And Tess and Tony are coming in this week. You know, Jimmy Dale was here last week. Tess and Tony are going to be here Wednesday. Today's Monday, so a couple of days. So they'll be here, and they've got to switch a transmission in their Mustang. So the shop's going to be tied up with that, and then we're going to War in the Woods. So we're trying to get ready for War in the Woods. We've got a lot of merch and stuff stacked up in the office that the kids have ordered in to get ready for that event. So just really busy. You know, this weekend's always a big weekend for us at War in the Woods. And so we've just been trying to relax a little bit. We did go testing last week with the Falcon. That went really well. I think Billy's S10's in pretty decent shape. He's going to go over some things with it this week and try to get the brakes a little better. For some reason, it doesn't have rear brakes. I don't know how he's been racing it that way, but it hasn't had rear brakes in quite a while. He did end up getting a nitrous kit put on it to help it spool, because it is a short stroke small block Chevy. It's a 3.48-inch stroke, and with the converter as tight as it needs to be to handle the amount of power it makes, it struggles to come up on the two-step. It struggles to build boost. So he put a nitrous kit on it from Nitrous Express to help it spool faster, and that seems to be working very well. He's pretty excited about that. So anyway, we've just been trying to relax and reflect and rejuvenate and re-energize a little bit, and I'm really excited. I'm going to go up here and hear this engine run for the first time today. Let's get it done. I couldn't have asked for a more beautiful Memorial Day to take a trip in my Malibu up to the machine shop. When I pulled in up there, Bob was busy checking some valve spring pressures on Billy's big block heads for his Nova. Right now, we're just waiting on pistons to put it back together. Well, Uncle Bob, happy Memorial Day. We're up here at the dyno today. We got my 440 on here. We're getting ready to fire it up for the first time.
Yes.
And I was just telling everybody in the video on the way up here, this was Tommy's old block that we hurt on nitrous, and it took a 4-185 bore to clean it up. So we didn't want to put it in anything I was going to lean on really hard. Figured a twin turbo 5-speed application would be.
Not gonna lean on it there.
But I mean, I think it's going to be okay. I'm not planning on trying to like.
You'll be the first to know.
Oh, I'll be the first to know. So this thing's 440 inches, 4-185 bore, and it's a flat top piston, right?
Yep.
But it's still got a pretty good bit of compression, even though it's a flat top.
Yeah.
It's a 70cc combustion chamber. Look at this. What's going on?
I know, but I think we're done.
You think we're done for the day?
I think we're done. That's the third flash. Ooh, we came back.
There's bad juju today or something. I don't know what's going
I
on.
don't know. I bet my motor's all screwed up.
What motor?
Oh, my water control digital
Oh.
thing, but it's okay.
Well, maybe not a good idea to try and do a dyno pull
No,
on today.
no. I don't want to do that.
But
You
we
want the
can-
electric go out in the middle of that.
Right. But we can... What in the hell is going on? This is nuts.
Ah,
Well, at least maybe we'll be able to fire it up and hear it run, right?
yeah, we can do that.
I don't know what's going on. The power keeps coming on and off while we're trying to film in here. We're just getting ready to fire this engine up. I don't know. I hope this isn't a bad omen. Junior's here. He wants to hear this thing run too.
The 440, the camshaft, and that thing knocked the power out.
Yeah. We can still fire it up. We just can't make any dyno pulls without power up here today. So let's go ahead and fire it up so we can hear what it sounds like. So we can fire it up, but we got to keep an eye on the oil pressure out there.
Yeah, it's got a manual gauge out there, so we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Okay.
And really, without exhaust fans and stuff, you ain't gonna be able to run it very long.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah, I mean,
It's going to get hot
you
in
can
there.
start it and run it for, you know what I mean, a few minutes.
All right. Well, hang on. Let me... All right.
Now, what I would do is I would leave that other door open,
Yeah.
because you'll probably get more light in there.
Okay.
And in here, if you have a situation, you can turn the ignition, flip the ignition off, or wave at me, I guess. I can see
Okay.
it.
All right. Well, here we go. We're going to do this in the dark, I guess. Good. God dang, Bob, that thing sounds good. Timing's at 36. Whew, boy, that thing sounds good. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to get this in the car. What do you think?
Sounds really good, dude.
It does sound really good.
You're gonna have your hands full.
Oh, come on now.
Even that thing NA would be a handful, not a stick car.
Yeah, put twins on it. I think Jose's building twin 76s for it.
Probably like what's on my truck.
Yeah, probably. Probably real close to it. Bob, that thing sounds really, really good. Really, really good.
Down anything else?
By Tuesday, the power had come back on up at the machine shop. However, my 440 isn't the only engine up there we need to dyno, and electric wasn't the only thing we were out of yesterday. Once we get my engine off the dyno, there's two more 4-inch stroke small block Chevys back there, one with a 245 AFR head and one with a 235cc RHS head. Both of those engines belong to customers of Bob's. Both of them would like to have us dyno these engines and work with the camshafts and cam timing to get the most out of them. And since the kids are out of methanol and Bob's out of race gas, I made a trip down to Logan to Basil Oil to pick up a couple drums of fuel. I wasn't alone. My head of security came with me. Now, we've been buying our fuel down at Basil for a long time. A few years ago, when we were having constant trouble with plugging fuel filters, we switched over to buying methanol down here. And we've had very good luck ever since. Now, recently, within the last year, they've started stocking Fuel Factory fuel. After watching Jimmy Dale turn 600 horsepower worth of nitrous loose on this Mustang over and over, I think I'm a believer, and Bob is too. So I picked up a couple pails of that for our standalone kits in our nitrous cars, a couple of drums of methanol for the boys, and I had them fill a 55-gallon drum full of F112 to take up to Bob's for us to use on the dyno to break engines in and make dyno pulls. Once we got all our drums loaded up, I went inside to pay my bill and headed back home. Me and my head of security did stop to get something to eat on the way. We made it back to the shop around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and Tanner helped me unload the 2 drums of methanol and put one of them in the race car trailer for the weekend. Tanner's been helping Billy work on the S10, and they're going to redo some things on the suspension and work on the brakes to find out why we only have fronts and no rears. So while the kids are working on that at the shop, I take the 64 up to see Bob and drop off his fuel. He says if it's good enough for Jimmy, it's good enough for you. He's been doing plenty of that.
Yeah.
I was a little bit skeptical until he put that, I don't know what it's called, F-NOS. He said it's for freaking NOS. He put that F-NOS in that car and turned both kits on down there and was blasting that freaking thing.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
So I figured if it's good enough for that, I figured we'd give it a try.
Uh-huh.
Now we got dyno fuel.
Now we got Dyno. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, welcome back. It's Wednesday now, and I'm out here in the new shop with Buckwheat. And Billy and Tanner completely disassembled the rear suspension on the S10 yesterday. And it's all new. It's got split monoleaf rear springs on it now. They had to have some new lowering blocks custom made, I think. I'm not sure what they did there, but after we lowered the back of the truck and changed the springs, we also had to remount the anti-roll bar, which that's what Buckwheat's working on right now. We had to, I think, raise the anti-roll bar mounting bar in the chassis because with the truck sitting lower, the rear end housing would now hit the tube at static ride height. So we're in the midst of completely redoing the rear suspension on the S10 right before War in the Woods. What could go wrong? In other news, we did find out why the truck hasn't had rear brakes in a long time. The master cylinder had been plumbed backwards and the front brake lines were attached to the wrong port on the master. Those strange master cylinders have priority to the rear brakes, and priority was plumbed to the front brakes, and basically it just didn't hardly have anything for the rear. So we've got that fixed now, and we're moving forward. I think things are going to go okay. We're going to try and test this truck someplace, hopefully this evening, and hopefully that goes well before War in the Woods, or we're going to have to redo everything that we just did. What do you got going on in here, Squirrely Locks?
Always working.
Always. Oh, I had a burp. Always working.
Always working.
I'm ready.
Give details?
Oh yeah, let's
Okay.
go.
First, most important is the carburetor giveaway ends Friday at 11:59 p.m.
Oh my God, this Friday?
This Friday.
Holy sh!
I know. Time flies. 11:59 p.m. And then next week we will pick a winner. We'll draw an order number and somebody's going to win.
Let's let it go through this weekend. Let's not.
Sunday?
Yeah, let's let it go through Sunday because let's just be honest. We've been extremely busy, and I haven't really had time to even explain.
A lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So lucky everybody.
We're gonna
It's
let it
gonna
go through Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah,
at
let's let it go through
11:59.
Sunday.
Okay.
So the carburetor giveaway, that deal is whoever we pick as a winner gets to choose between a gas or E85 4150 ATM carburetor, brand new. And if they live close enough, they're going to get an opportunity to bring their car here, and I'm going to install it and help dial it in. And you get a chance to come hang out here and little shop tour, and maybe go visit Mark and Uncle Bob and House of Pearls and Jegs.
Probably
and
go cruise around and do stuff.
yeah. So really kind of looking forward to that. We had a great time the last time we did that. So
All right. Next.
all right.
War in the Woods is this weekend. This is my favorite event of the whole year.
Brown County, Indiana.
Brown County Dragway in Morgantown, Indiana.
I'm sorry.
Yes. You gotta let me give the
Okay.
details.
Okay.
You're interrupting. Okay, so
I'm trying to speed this process up.
you're gonna chipmunk me anyway. So here it goes.
It costs $25 to watch for one day, but if you're coming for both Friday and Saturday, $40. They make a deal if you're doing 2 days.
Yeah, they're making
Kids
a deal.
12 and under are free. The gates open Friday and Saturday at 9 a.m., but the racing doesn't start until 4, so there's no reason to come super early. But some people like to get there early, but I'm just letting you know, racing doesn't actually start till 4, and the run order is big tire, hard tire, True Street, Gangster 26, and then small tire. So by the time they get to the big show for small tire, it's about 7 o'clock. So don't panic if you're stuck in traffic or something. It's okay.
Can I mention something?
What?
Please don't knock on the windows of the truck as we're trying to pull in the track, because the dogs are usually
They will
in the
go
truck
nuts.
and they'll tear they'll tear the inside of the truck to pieces.
Just wave.
And
We'll wave.
yeah, and don't because I just had the windows tinted on my dually, and our last trip I almost lost the window tint when somebody knocked on the window.
Yeah.
And the lady was very nice. She was bringing me a bag of beef jerky, which I never actually got because she was offended that I told her to please don't do what she was doing. So I
Jim was
apologize.
going to kill
Oh
somebody.
yeah. So please, when you come to see us this weekend, please let us get our pit set up.
Mm-hmm.
If the kids are on the laptops and they're working on the cars, that's not a good time to ask for anything, signatures, pictures, stuff. Just kind of. This is a serious race.
But we're there all weekend.
Yeah.
And
But it's a
there'll be
serious.
good time.
But it's a serious race, and it's very treacherous. It's very dangerous, and the kids need to be able to concentrate. We all are there working. It's not, it's not just like a meet and greet. Like we're there to race, and it's very, very treacherous. it's dangerous, and if
This is the track that makes mom and dad the most nervous.
yeah, especially me. So if you see me on the starting line, I'm probably not going to be in the mood to
He's
talk.
not super social on the starting line.
I'm not social on the starting
He's in the
line.
zone.
Leave, please leave. Don't.
He's in the zone.
Don't just kind of leave me
But
alone.
he will, Bill and the boys will make trips up to the merch tent to, as they can, to visit with people
Yes.
as much as they can.
But on the starting line, please have some.
Just be patient. Just
Yes.
wait for the best time.
Yes. All right.
Okay, wait. Let me think. Oh, this is a cash-only facility. So they don't take card at the gate. You need to bring cash for all your food vendors. They have excellent lemonade there. I'm telling you guys. The food vendors are awesome. Bill's giving me a look. Like, hurry.
Are we done?
Let me see here. Oh, there is a little bit of stands, but
Bring your own lawn
bring
chairs.
your own lawn chairs, blankets, sunscreen, all the things.
Bug spray.
That wouldn't hurt.
Mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, whatever you need to be comfortable, bring it.
Are we done?
Yeah. Oh, come see me at the merch tent. We are fully loaded.
We already said that.
Did we? I didn't remember saying that. Come see me at the merch tent.
What do you got there, Jimmy?
Just eating in the old man's car, no big deal.
No big deal. What do you got?
Blueberry donut holes.
You're a blueberry donut hole.
Thanks, bub.
We've got it scribed. We're going to pull that bolt out, and we're going to put Loctite on it so that we don't have a
You ever heard of that stuff?
belly problem. What is that, Jimmy?
Oh, Stingray Corvette. Nice piece right there, buddy. Real nice piece. Yeah,
All right, let's do it. Let's
It's
do it.
tater day.
Hold on.
Double or
Double or
nothing?
nothing. Let's do it.
Double or nothing?
Come on,
Yeah.
let's do it. Might as well,
100 are free.
Now.
Tails. Hit nice! There you go.
See, I knew it.
It's all free now.
It's my luck.
Well, we need more shit now.
Oh, that's not.
Well, he'll pay for the other shit, but this shit here is all free. Where's my bolt?
You're what?
Where's
I don't
my
know where
single
your
bolt
bolt's
at?
at.